I'm Congressman Jeff Davis from Kentucky's 4th Congressional District. I'm a huge fan of Generation Joshua. It reaches people on a number of levels. First, it gives young people a chance to be involved in cutting-edge political campaigns that actually make a difference in the direction that the country goes. The second thing that's important to me personally is Generation Joshua participated in 2 critical nationally targeted races to help me in the 2004 and the 2006 campaigns, both of which were decisive wins, largely due to our tremendous grassroots operation of which Generation Joshua was a key part. We began working typically 11 to 12 months out from an election to begin putting together our grassroots operation. When we did this in 2004, we knew that we were going to be in a targeted race, and we're very excited to have their participation. In 2006, where I was the 4th most expensive race in the country for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, their role was absolutely critical because of their productivity in door-to-door work, voter contact by telephone, and generally contributed to a team effort that was the #1 campaign in the United States of America for the U.S. House for voter outreach, contacting 98,000 households in the final 105 hours of the campaign.
I'm Congressman Frank Inta from New Hampshire, serving in my first term as member of Congress from the 1st Congressional District in New Hampshire. And I can tell you, Generation Joshua, when I got introduced to them, was by 50 kids coming into our district in New Hampshire, helping us get across the finish line. They were helpful because they decided to come in to help our campaign. We had about 50 young kids, volunteers, helping with making phone calls, going door to door, going to sign waves. And in New Hampshire, these are the grassroots things that are so critical to make a difference in a loss versus a victory. So we were very pleased to have that final component of the puzzle come in New Hampshire almost as reinforcements to help the campaign claim victory back in November. And we did with a 12-point victory, and I think it's great for not just New Hampshire, but great for the nation. So I'm awfully proud of the kids and the organization, and thankful that they were helpful in our effort to reclaim America.
Hi, I'm Congressman Tom McClintock. I wouldn't have been elected to the Congress if it hadn't been for Generation Joshua. The American founders worried a lot about a generation of Americans that might fail to pass on the principles of the American founding to the next. They knew that just one generation failing to do that would create a nation that had lost the memory of freedom. Generation Joshua is our generation's response. It's not going to happen on our watch. I ran one of the closest races in the entire country in 2008. It was the hundreds of students from Generation Joshua who came to us from all over the region in those final days, who walked the precincts and made the phone calls that made all the difference in the world. We were fighting MoveOn.org, Acorn, and all of the organized unions. And it was the Generation Joshua students who tipped the balance back in my favor.
I'm Congressman Tim Huelskamp, and what I like about Generation Joshua is this. It takes the fundamental founding principles of our nation and puts it into practice. During our campaign and other campaigns at the state level, Generation Joshua has prepared a number of young folks that have entered in the political process, trying to make a difference to take Christian principles and our worldview and put those in practice in politics. It's made a difference by hopefully changing not only the debate, but actually changing the results to make sure that our values, our principles, the founding principles of our nation are represented in the folks we send to Washington and to state legislatures and local governments as well. Far too often in today's world, the folks that are seen as leaders are not actually folks that are energized by basic foundational principles. They're usually energized by the desire to be in power. Instead, our focus should be on principles, and Generation Joshua sets up, identifies, and educates our young folks on those principles and the need and the desire and actually our obligation to implement those principles in our political practices, indeed through our entire lives.